what do the Leafs do now? Do they blow it up? Sheldon Keefe after the game sounded like somebody who knew he was fired, basically saying, hey, game plan against the Leafs is have the Leafs do some stupid shit, have them beat themselves. I don't know what he meant by it, but I know the words that I heard, and it's the ones that I just said. That's fired guy talk.
That is such fired guy talk. Wild, weird quote to unleash after a game 7.
I love it.
Crazy behavior.
That's
essentially like taking the long road around saying, we got outcoached.
Do you have it, Sean?
Yeah.
All right, hit us.
Sheldon, obviously, it was a tight series on both sides. For your team's perspective, what was the biggest challenge generating offense?
Well, they're a very structured team. You know, they do a very good job through the neutral zone, and they protect their net as well, or better than most any team in the NHL. And they were content to do that. You know, they were content to do that. It's very evident. Teams play the Leafs. They set up the game for the Leafs to beat themselves. And I thought we did that in game 3 and 4. We beat ourselves with how we played it at home.
Okay, well, very fair in game 4 and game 3. You did beat yourself in 2 of those. Let someone else say it.
Yeah. And like weird to bring it up now, I guess, like after the game 7. I don't know, like it just seemed like a defeated man.
No, my read on it is completely different. My read is just I know I'm about to get fired. It's like when you know you're about to leave a job, and so you start telling all these people stuff that you've wanted to tell them all year, where it's just like, listen, I know I'm leaving. These motherfuckers just keep making mistakes. Like, I don't think he was saying that he got out coached. He was saying the only way you're going to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs is if the Toronto Maple Leafs don't execute. And I can't do anything about whether or not they execute. These guys just didn't do the job. Like, they kept making mistakes. It sounded to me that he was just like, I'm tired of this shit. It's not my fault. The players just sucked. That was how I read it.
Do you think he gets fired?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like not
I'm surprised he hasn't been fired yet.
I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been fired yet either.
I after that quote, I was expecting him to get Lane Kiffined. I was expecting them just fucking leave him in Boston.
You couldn't. It's that literally, I think customs were the only reason he made it back to Canada as the coach, as the Toronto Maple Leafs head coach.
Yeah, I can't believe he hasn't been fired yet, and he probably won't be until Thursday, because that's when the players and coaches, I think, exit interviews today, and then management is Thursday.
Right, which CJ said was different than how they usually do it. But that's how a lot of, I mean, they'll do players, coaches same day, and then they'll do management a few days later. But CJ said that that's not how they usually do it. So I don't know if maybe something is afoot there. I think they owe it to Sheldon Keefe to let him do one more press conference, because then he'll be gone after that. I also, though, am a little surprised that he's not already gone. How about Mitch Marner? 3 points in 7 games, just turned 27, 1 year left at $10.9 million. Of the SpongeBob font, core 4, he seems the most likely to go, because Matthews and Nylander are starting new deals, and no one's going to fucking want John Tavares.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's possible that Marner's traded. I would even say it's maybe likely, but ultimately, it comes down to, like, does he want to go? He has the no movement clause. He gets to have final say.
He should so want out of there. He should want a fresh start as much as the Leafs want a don't have Mitch Marner start.
It's Toronto boy, though.
Yeah, like, that's the only thing.
But it's been Toronto. It's been family. It's been all, like, I think that these could be some of the reasons why he hasn't had that Leaf in him.
Well, I agree, and I think that part of him would certainly benefit from a fresh start in a place where there's less pressure and just like less of a microscope on him at all times. But it kind of depends on how you're wired as an athlete, and if you are ready to move on. And like, by doing so, you're essentially closing the book on what will be deemed a failure for Mitch Marner in Toronto. And I just don't know where his head is at as an athlete if he wants to have his time in his hometown, the team that he grew up rooting for and means a lot to him, for him to be like labeled as a failure as a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Pierre-Luc Dubois, you are a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Oh my God.
PLD for Marner, straight
so much
up
fun. I'm sure they won't try it.
If anybody could get cooked worse than Mitch Marner, it would be PLD.
That's so they do him that solid. They trade him for PLD to be like, look, here's what was coming your way.
They
We're going to
want-
have it all happen to PLD instead of you.
Make it so they want Marner back. That's the real. He might just not care. Like maybe he just doesn't. Maybe he just would rather be in Toronto and hang out and be with his family and friends.
See, I don't think he cares too much about the legacy thing. I think that if I'm having a bad time, I'm like, you know what, just get me out of here and let me start fresh somewhere else.
But he might be the kind of person where he's like, I'm having a bad time. You know what would help? Being somewhere I'm comfortable around my family and friends.
Yeah, but I mean, like he's such good friends with Willie and Matthews. Like, I don't know if he's gonna be like want to be the odd man out in that core four,
as in being the one that gets moved.
Being the one that gets moved.
Like I think he might just be in a situation where he's like, a ring would be dope, but like, he might not think that this team can't win a ring. Which I think is a big difference from what the public views it as, and B. Yeah, he might just be like, I would rather just stay home and enjoy playing hockey.
And like he may want to do it next year and not this year. You know, like he's got that 1 year left. He may want to exit on his own terms and leave in free agency, make his decision, and give it one more kick at the can next year. Like I could see that being a possibility too. So I think that it's certainly possible that he gets moved this summer, but I don't think it's an absolute certainty.
We all silly like the mayor.